Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Molly McTurnan and I am the author of Poetic Surrender, which is a faith-based collection of poetry. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing what my most anticipated book releases are for 2025. So if that interests you, keep watching. First on the list is Beyond Mulberry, Glen by Millie Florence. This is a middle grade, it seems like fantasy type story put out by Waxwing Press, and I have read one of Millie's other novels and really enjoyed it, so I'm very much looking forward to this. And it comes out in January of 2025. The next book on the list is one I've actually already read. I got to read an early review copy, but that is The Unraveling of Emlyn, Dulaine by Lyndsey A. Franklin. This book comes out in February in 2025. It features a lot of stories. It's a fantasy dual world. It was very enjoyable, and I'm so excited for it to be released. The next novel is A Study of Shattered Spells by Josiah DeGraff. I met Josiah through a writing workshop that I'm part of, and so when I heard that he was releasing a fantasy story featuring music and teachers as the main character, I was thoroughly interested, and the Kickstarter for this launches I think in February, so I am very excited to see more about this book and eventually read it. Next on the list is The Betrayal of Eden by Erin Phillips. Erin Phillips has some biblical fantasy reimaginings out, and I loved the Esther retelling called A Crown of Chains. So when I heard that she was writing a Count of Monte Cristo retelling, I got so excited, and I cannot wait to hear about this book. As of right now, the cover has not been released yet, so that is why it is blank here, but I'm sure it will look stunning, and I am so excited to read this. Next on the list is The Atlas of Untold Stories by Sarah Brunswald. I don't really know much about this book at all, but I read Sarah's other book called The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp, and I very much liked that. So when I saw the title and the cover of this one, I got very intrigued, and I definitely want to learn more and try to read this year. The next book on the list is Once for Yes. Again, this is another book I don't really know too much about, but I read the author's previous novel called Olivetti about a magical typewriter earlier in the year and was very intrigued by it, and I definitely would be interested in trying more of her books, so I'm excited to see that she's releasing another one. The next book on the list is Embergold by Rachelle Nelson. This book comes out in March, and I am so excited for it. I loved Rachelle's other book called Sky of Seven Colors, and this is a fantasy put out by my favorite publisher, and it features dragons and a whole bunch of intrigue. I am very excited for this one. The next book on the list is actually a nonfiction, but that is The Happy Writer by Merissa Meyer. Now, Merissa Meyer is a pretty well-known author who wrote sort of sci-fi fairy tale retellings. The first book is called Cinder, and I am very intrigued by this book. She's writing for writers, and I'm excited to hear her thoughts and tips. And the last book on my list is The Crier Stone by Lewllen. I have not seen the cover for this yet either, so that's why it is also blank. But this is the sequel to The Chaos Grid, which is a Texan, it takes place in Texas, but sort of sci-fi dystopian. It was very good, and I actually got to meet the author in person also, and it was so amazing to meet her. So I am very excited to see how she wraps up the story in the second book. So there's my list. I am sure that I forgot a book or two, and I'm also sure that I'll hear about even more books releasing that I'm interested in, but I hope that some of these intrigued you, and make sure to share in the comments below what some of your most anticipated releases of 2025 are as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.